Let me add a couple things. I think we've had good bipartisan cooperation with Republicans on both sides. We passed the Time 21 bill, a major new investment in our transportation infrastructure in this state. We're excited about those efforts, and we've had good cooperation from the Republicans on our budget bills moving forward as we approach the end of the session here, and that's all been very positive. In terms of the budget, I'm proud of the fact we're going to have the most in savings ever in the history of the state, $615 million. That's a significant achievement. I'm proud that we've been able to tighten our belt a bit on this budget this year while maintaining our commitments to things like teacher quality and access to health care and renewable fuel economy, those kinds of efforts. I also got to say I'm a little disappointed. The House made a great effort relative to silo and the statewide penny and investment in our school buildings. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The baby boom generation is the worst generation in the history of the state when it comes to building facilities for our kids. My community, there's a school, gun school on North Broadway in Council Bluffs that has 2 portable classrooms that were temporarily put there in 1964, and they're still there, and that's wrong. Well, what we found in the Senate, while the House had, I think, 17 Republicans, we haven't been able to break past 3 Republicans that are committed to voting for this in the Senate. So we're pretty disappointed in that effort. Without bipartisan support, we are not going to be able to get that done this session. So that's probably the biggest news of the day is Senate Republicans have abandoned Iowa's school children. We'll take your questions.
So how many do you want to get before you'll take it up?
A heck of a lot more than 3. Listen, this is an issue that's about, in a lot of ways, equalizing a couple things we have in Iowa. We have this current mechanism on local option tax relative to retail sales. So property-rich districts in rural Iowa get some significant benefit by a formula that takes retail sales out of property-poor urban districts and moves them into rural Iowa. This piece of legislation, on the other hand, also has a property tax equalization mechanism in it that benefits urban Iowa. And so we think it's a well-crafted compromise on the issue of school infrastructure. The House was able to do it, and able to do it in a broadly bipartisan way, and able to do it. 59 votes, was it? 58? 59 votes in the Iowa House. This is an effort that requires bipartisan cooperation, and we've been somewhat surprised that not a single Republican voted for this when it came out of Ways and Means Committee. I guess I'd say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We're not going to fall for that. If that's the games the Republicans want to play on this issue, we're not going to take it up.
How many Democrats will support?
Right now, the issue is, are there enough Republicans for us to consider bringing it up? And at this point in time, there are not.
So you don't have 23 Democrats?
At this point in time, we're not going to take this up unless there's significant bipartisan support for it. As a matter of fact, the governor indicated at the start of the session on both Time 21 and on silo that he looked forward to a bipartisan effort in the legislature. I don't consider 3 bipartisan enough.
So can you explain to my listeners why, if this is so important to Iowa school children, you need bipartisan support? What's the point of having a majority if you can't put something that you think is important through? Why do you need bipartisan support?
We need bipartisan support because the revenues that come up with this system flow significantly into Republican districts. And if they're against it, Democrats aren't going to carry the water to benefit to something that dramatically benefits rural Iowa and, in particular, Republican districts. So we think it's and we did the same thing on roads. Our roads in Iowa don't know the boundaries of Democratic and Republican districts. And Republicans worked with us together, and as you know, in both the House and the Senate, it was a broadly, deeply bipartisan effort to deal with our transportation infrastructure. The same thing is true of our school infrastructure, our vertical infrastructure. So we were very much committed to moving forward on this issue until the time when it came out of Ways and Means Committee. And to their credit, our members, some of them that had reservations, some of them that see this as a transfer to Republican district, voted for it anyway and got it out of committee. This is not going to be what happens on the floor. So at this point, there's no time that I anticipate taking this up until that situation changes.
What's the Republicans voted for in the House?
What's that?
17. Silo, 17.
42 Democrats, 17 Republicans, and yeah, it was pretty broad.
So if you were going to make that equivalent in the Senate, 17, cut it in half, we should have 8 or 9 Republicans voting for this in the Senate, and we've got 3. Other questions?
It's not about what's doing best for Iowans, but what's not helping.
It's about an effort to have a bipartisan effort to deal with school buildings in this state, and Republicans want to abandon the school children of the state of Iowa.
Is it really that much of a surprise that Republicans aren't? But if you look at specific House members who supported this, their Senate counterparts have been on the record the entire session is not supporting it. I think it was Senator Angelo or Senator Hahn.
You know, Senator Angelo's district, first of all, Senator Angelo's retiring, not exactly a tough vote for him, and Senator Angelo's district probably gets more benefit out of this bill than any other senator. So I guess because he's retiring, he no longer cares about the kids in his district. I think that's just irrational.